Hey guys, it's Matt here. It's another weekend in April 2025. I've got a couple videos lined up for today. The first one's going to be the small faces and humble pie. I'm going to just do like from 65 from the first 45 from the small faces through 75, the initial incarnation of humble pie. Basically looking at the career of Steve Marriott during those 10 years in question. I think his 10 best years. Although I do like that solo album he did in 76. I don't have it here, otherwise I would show it to you. I think I got everything. I got every major album anyway. Certainly the Humble Pie albums, but the Small Faces stuff, well, we'll get to it. Okay, so we're going to start off with 1966's Small Faces. Now, this is just the standard, what's out there now. It's a remastered CD. It's got the whole album. Then it's got a bunch of bonus tracks. It's a good record. The Small Faces were a mod band. I guess that word doesn't really mean too much to Americans, but it did to the English in the mid-60s. Like The Who and The Action. I don't know if I can name that many mod bands. Anyways, you can see who's on the cover here. That's Steve Marriott. That's Kenny Jones, later the drummer for The Who. That's Ronnie Lane, and that's Ian. Now, there was another guy before this, I can't remember his name, who is on about half of this album, and he left to be an actor or a businessman or something. That's what Wiki says. Anyway, anyways, this is the Small Faces lineup that everyone remembers. Like I said, the album's pretty good. For like a mid-60s kind of Brit invasion. I say Brit invasion, but these guys never invaded America. Although later on, Itchy Coo Park was a hit. So yeah, I guess you could call them a British invasion era band. That was a bit later though. So anyways, what's on here? Standard stuff. What You Gonna Do About It's a great early single. That's the one I think from 65. You Need Lovin'. We should discuss that one, right? So You Need Lovin' is the Willie Dixon number that he wrote for Muddy Waters that the Small Faces adapted, and they put their names on it the way that the English were wont to do. And it's virtually a blueprint, the way that Marriott sings that song, for how Robert Plant would sing Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. So supposedly Page wrote the music, for Whole Lotta Love with that killer riff. Plant went away, purloined the lyrics that the Small Faces came up with. Well, it's even then, it's not even their lyrics. It's Willie Dixon's lyrics. But he sings it, Plant, in the same manner that Steve Marriott did it, Anyways, I won't go into that anymore. I already did my Zeppelin video. But that's certainly, and it's a good song. The Small Faces do it well. I like most everything that's on here. So it's a strong album. They're on they're on Andrew Luke Oldham's label here. So no, that's not true. Andrew Luke Oldham did Immediate, didn't he? This is Don Arden's label. Don Arden, Sharon Osbourne's father, Ozzy Osbourne's father-in-law, and he was like a gangster type, and so he was like a shady businessman. More about him in a second. So they wanted to leave his label in 67, I guess. And so Arden quickly released this From the Beginning, which is also a pretty good album. It's not all original material. It's recordings that they had released. It's recordings that they hadn't released but weren't necessarily made for an album from the beginning. But it's pretty good, Okay, so I get another nice picture. These guys photographed well. My Mind's Eye, great. My Way of Giving. Later on, well, they would re-record that anyway. But later on, the Faces, I think, would do that, right? I don't remember now. I'm going to do a Faces and Rod Stewart video, too, sometime soon. Yeah, All or Nothing, of course, classic. Sha-la-la-la-lee, that's a classic 45. And then, extra tracks, What You Gonna Do About It Again. So nothing wrong with this album. It's just not an official Small Faces record, right? So, it's not as important to the discography as this, but it's not bad either, all right? Okay, their next real album is somewhat confusingly for the immediate label, was also called Small Faces. All right, there's a couple different deluxe editions that you can get of this. I was syncing this album with a friend of mine the other night, and we were noticing his version, while also a double disc, it has a slightly different track sequencing than mine. This is a great album, folks. I think this is one of the underrated, unheralded albums from. There were so many great albums in '67. This probably wouldn't even make my top 20, but it's still great. That's just how many great albums were released in that way every year in the late '60s and the early '70s. But to go over this, tell me, have you ever seen me? Steve Marriott was one of the great singers to come out of Britain. And I'll tell you this now before I start the Humble Pie section of this video. He's a better singer with the Small Faces. When he was with Humble Pie, he was too into, trying to sound like a hard rock singer or, whatever. I will save that for my Humble Pie portion of this show. But I think he was at a peak around 67, 68 as a singer. But he was always good. In 65, 66, he was great too. Something I want to tell you, feeling lonely, happy boys together, things are going to get better. I like all these songs. Oh, there's My Way of Giving again. A different version, though, than the one that's on the from the beginning album. Green Circles. Yeah, they're starting to get into psychedelia here. Becoming Like You, Get Yourself Together, All Our Yesterdays. All this stuff is good, guys. Show Me the Way Up the Wooden Hills to Bedfordshire, Eddie's Dreaming. And then you get, the immortal Here Come the Nights. These are 45s. Ichiku Park, I'm Only Dreaming, Tin Soldier. How many better songs did they do than Tin Soldier? Yeah, I love it all. And later on, you get, in America, this was their American release, There Are But Four Small Faces, which was just a rejiggering, a reconfiguration of this album, Small Faces, but with some of those singles that I just named. So in essence, it's actually a better album than Small Faces, but I'm all about British band, British discography. But Americans got a gooder deal. A gooder? A better, and I'm an English teacher. A better deal with that one, I think, because it included the singles, which makes it stronger. So this is their first, I think, essential release. And we're already coming to a close, unfortunately, because they didn't have that many albums, with the classic Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. Now, folks, this is my only copy. I thought for years about getting the Ogden's box set. I just haven't got around to it. It's got the mono mix. This is the stereo recording. I will. I just, money's kind of tight right now, guys. I just did my taxes and I owed thousands of dollars because I got a big pay raise last year. And I hadn't paid money, for taxes in a long time. So I'm not buying so many CDs right now. I'm trying to make do with what I already have, which, believe me, it's enough. So the old Matt would have probably bought this box set just for this video to show you guys, but not the current, poor Matt. Anyways, is this their best album? It's certainly their most famous one. It probably, I love the instrumental Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. I often think that could be like in a movie, like the opening music of a movie with some kind of urban landscape. Afterglow is brilliant. Long Ago and Worlds Apart. Reenie, I love it. Song of a Baker, Hell yeah. Lazy Sunday, I get that song stuck in my head for days. Wouldn't it be nice to get on with my neighbors? And then, you know, it starts side 2 with the Tale of Happiness Stan, with Stanley Unwin narrating, and I'm not crazy about that guy's voice, but whatever. Happiness Stan, Rolling Over, The Hungry Intruder, The Journey, Mad John, and Happy Days. Toy Town, it's all good. Like I said, this is her most well-known album, at least in America. Is it necessarily better than Small Faces? Probably. I don't know if it's better than There Are But Four Small Faces, but it's, you know, I think those are their 2 essential records. Now, they made recordings after that, folks. And there's a couple more albums, but they're, you know, of stuff that's already previously released and whatnot, like Autumn Stone and whatnot. I don't have, like, a guy made me this Darlings of Wapping Wharf Laundrette, which is all of the immediate stuff. It's 2 discs, and wouldn't you know it, I only found 1. This is a CDR, but this is a great way to wrap up the immediate years. Here's something I found that somebody else made for me. I don't even know what the title is. I just wrote down Small Faces 65 to 67. Again, it's, you know, it's more immediate stuff. So I'm pretty sure that I've got it all, but unfortunately, there is not a one comprehensive Small Faces box set to just give you all of the Decca and immediate stuff. But I think all their albums have deluxe, you know, versions. So, but it probably isn't too hard just to get everything. All right. Okay, so moving on. 11:40. Oh, this is going to be maybe a lengthy video. Well, for me anyway. Rarely do my videos go over 20 minutes anymore. We're going to go into Humble Pie. Humble Pie, they were different as the years went on. When they started out, this is, you know, Safe as Yesterday Is. This is their first album. You know, this was Marriott and Frampton, you know, starting a new band that was going to be kind of folky, kind of hard rock. You know, what was happening in England in the late 60s. 69 to be exact. And it's a fairly solid record. You can see what's on it. Makes it easy for me to read. Let's see. Desperation, that's a Steppenwolf number. Yeah, and I already did my Steppenwolf show. Even though Steppenwolf are not like a major band, you know, even of that era, because there was better bands, I'm a Steppenwolf guy, and so it was cool to see, you know, when Humble Pie did that number. Snake Ship, Buttermilk Boy, Growing Closer. It was yesterday. Bang, Alabama 69. I'll Go Alone. A nifty little number like you and what you will. This is one of those Japanese discs. There's no extra, you know, bonus tracks. It's just the album, but it sounds good. It's kind of going off in a hard rock direction in some on some numbers, and it's just kind of, you know, English rock on others. I don't know if I necessarily like Town and Country better. Town and Country is their second LP. It's a little more acoustic, you know, a little more mellow. It's not as hard rocking as the first one, but they would become more hard rocking right after this. I can't see the song title, so I don't remember what's on here, but it's about as solid a record as Safe as Yesterday. You know, these albums are not that well known in the States. I don't think they sold anything here. When Humble Pie recorded for the A&M label, this is the stuff that's more well known to us Yanks. This is a nice little box set. It didn't come out that long ago. This is what I'm going to use for the remainder of this show. It's 8 discs. It is everything on the A&M label from the Humble Pie album in, 1970 through Street Rats in 75. So those are the ones we will be discussing. All right. These are the albums that charted, you know, decently well. Well, not all of them in America. So like a lot of these box sets, though, the CDs don't have the the LP covers. So I got to use the box. I got to use the book in the box to show you what they look like. It was cool for a while, to have Steve and Pete Frampton in the same band. Though they didn't get along forever, did they? Humble Pie, 1970. Pretty good. It's more like a going back to a harder sound. That was quite popular, and hard rock coming out of England was quite popular in the late from '69 on. You had Zeppelin, and you had Deep Purple, and Sabbath, and so many others. So it's no wonder that they decided to, when they could, try and tap into a bit of that. But they were always about more than just that. These guys could write songs, and Steve could sing, and Frampton could play, and Marriott plays guitar too. So I'm not going to say Humble Pie is one of their best albums, but it's certainly really not bad. It doesn't let the side down. There's nothing. Well, actually, it's right here. What's on here? Live With Me, Only a Roach, One-Eyed Trouser, Snake Rumba. Yeah, I remember that one. Earth and Water Song. I'm Ready. Yeah, the cover. Theme from Skint. Yeah, that's when their previous label was going under. I think that was Andrew Logue Oldham's label. Red Light Mama, Red Hot, and Psych on the Street. But yeah, it's pretty good. Better though is 1971's Rock On. This is the first one where they're starting to become, like a big English hard rock band to Americans. Sorry that I'm giving you the American point of view, but what else can I give you? This is more of a solid record than Humble Pie. Shine On, Sour Grain. Yeah, these songs I know. I love Stone Cold Fever. Rolling Stone, they did that one on the live album. Song for Jenny, that was Steve's wife at the time. Big Georgie, Strange Days, and Redneck Jump. Yeah, that's just a better album. And that's the last studio album that Frampton would be on. Okay, where's my copy of Live for Performance? Here it is. Performance, Rockin' the Fillmore is in the A&M box set, but this is my copy of it that I had before that, so it's easier to show you what it looks like. This is the one that turned on most Americans to the band. It's a double live album, as so many groups had in that era, in that decade. It's pretty solid. It rocks. You do have Steve doing his African-American, imitations to some ill effect, but mostly this album kicks ass. This is what I used to play. This was not only the first one that I ever had of theirs, it was the first one that I even cared to own for years till I decided to get into their other albums. So I was into Small Faces before I was into Humble Pie, but this is what I would recommend to you if you're a hard rocking guy. You want to check out Humble Pie and see what they could do in a live setting. This is it. All right, as virtually anyone else would tell you. Okay, moving on to my favorite Humble Pie studio album, Smokin'. Clem Clemson is the new. That's it right there. Is the new guitar player. Yeah, this is the one I would give a newbie if he wanted to, see the hard rockin' side of Humble Pie. Smokin' has Hot and Nasty, The Fixer, You're So Good to Me, Come On Everybody, that's a Eddie Cochran number. Old Time Feel, 30 Days in the Hole, one of my favorite Humble Pie songs. I'm pretty sure Steve wrote that by himself. I don't remember now. Roadrunners, G-Jam, they did have songs that came out of jams. I Wonder, Sweet Peace and Time. Yeah, this is the one I would say to check out if you want to. It's not so much Humble Pie, the pop songwriters, but it's Humble Pie, the rockers. Okay, the last one that I'm going to say is pretty good is Eat It. Eat It, that was a double, right? That was a double, yeah. It's got some live stuff on there too. This is 73 now, because Smoking was 72. Get down to it, Good Booze and Bad Women. What a cool title. As If I Love, Drugstore Cowboy. I love that film with Matt Dillon. Black Coffee, I Believe to My Soul. They always liked their Ray Charles numbers, didn't they? There was a couple of them on the live album too. Shut Up and Don't Interrupt Me. That's How Strong My Love Is. Say No More. Oh, Bella. Oh, that service. Yeah, and there's live stuff on here. Honky Tonk and Roadrunner. But it's still pretty good, and it's not going to make my list of great double LPs in the 1970s. But it's like I said, it's the last one I can get behind. The last two, Thunderbox and Street Rats, not so much. Let me show you what they look like. Thunderbox was a... is that their slang for toilet? I don't know. It's all right. You know, by this point, they have peaked. You know, there's still some good songs on here. Thunderbox, Screaming with Jesus, I Can't Stand the Rain. They're starting to do more cover versions. Anna, Go to Him, and that's one that the Beatles did in the early 60s. No Way, Rally with Ali, Don't Worry, Be Happy, 99 Pounds, that's another cover. Every Single Day, No Money Down is Chuck Berry, Drift Away. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's all right. But Street Rats is even worse, and I'll tell you why. Street Rats is not even an album that was put out by the band. It was, God, you know what? I can't remember what Street Rats even looks like. Wow. Is that the cover? I can't even remember what Street Rats looks like. Anyways, I do know the story of the album, though. Marriott was, he was recording stuff for his first solo album. And they didn't want to tour again because they've been touring for years. So the label just took what they had recorded, messed around with the recordings. You know, I can't remember what they did, but the band were not happy with it, made it kind of try to sound heavier, and just released it without the band's input whatsoever. So it's, you know, you could even consider it, and again, too many cover versions, so you could even consider it's not even really a Humble Pie album, but of course it is. It's got them all playing on it. And that endeth the tale. Now, you know, that wasn't the end of Steve Marriott. He didn't die until the early 90s, I think, in a fire. Terrible. But he did stuff after that. Like I said, the Steve, or did I say this? The Steve Marriott album, which is called Marriott, came out in 76, which I don't have. It's actually pretty good. It's certainly a better album than Street Rats. So, wrapping up, 23 minutes. They're one of the better bands, Small Faces, to be big in England to this day, you know, that never really made it in America. I don't know what their profile is here, because literally Ichiku Park is the only top 40 hit they ever had here. And if you listen to classic rock radio, they don't play the Small Faces. If you listen to oldies radio, you know, guys, I'm really dating myself here mentioning radio stations, because who even listens to radio anymore? Now it would be satellite radio, and I don't know what they play on satellite radio, because I just play CDs in my car. So Small Faces is one of the great bands, one of the great mod bands of the mid to late 60s. Not as impressive to these Yankee ears as the Who or the Kinks. The Kinks weren't mod, though. But, you know, still a great group that whenever I play them, I think these guys deserve a higher profile here. Same with the Pretty Things, another band I've already done a video of. Pretty Things had no hits here. I mean, they don't even have an Ichiku Park in America. Humble Pie was a good band. I think that Humble Pie suffered from the fact that there was too much of that stuff around during the first half of the 70s. There was too much stuff coming out of England, too much hard rock, you know, and too many better bands, I think. But that doesn't mean you could not craft a really good, like, say, compilation of Humble Pie material from 69 to 75. and you could. I don't think it would be as impressive as a really good Small Faces comp, but it would be fine nonetheless. And you do hear Humble Pie songs sometimes, not a lot, on, U.S. radio, or I'm not sure if I've ever heard a movie or anything with that stuff on there, but all the same. All right, so this is Matt signing off. Small Faces, Humble Pie, Steve Marriott. Check them out if you don't know them already.